Being in a band is weird. I mean, the playing is natural. Everything else is odd. This is odd. I mean, this is really unnatural. You know, if you have a sense of humor, you can deal with it. I think this is all funny, and it's absurd, and I get a good kick out of it.
He initially didn't even want to be in a band because he said all guys in bands are assholes, and I don't want to be an asshole. And I was like, you know, well, you don't have to be. We don't have to be assholes. You know, we can be like the non-asshole band.
I guess we were kind of a bar band, but a weird bar band. We played weird bars. Weird bars.
It was a really neat thing. We always played, for some reason, Tuesday night in discos, because Tuesday night was
New Wave night. And they'd request B-52 songs. We wouldn't play them.
And Devo. They wanted lots of Devo. We said, well, sorry, we don't know any. And they were, do you know any Molly Hatchet? No.
Molly Hatchet is a famous New Wave band, by the way.
We played North Carolina and Chapel Hill and you know, Nashville and all those places, and that was kind of like unheard of. It's like, why do you want to play in South Carolina? And you go, well, I don't know, it's there.
We're on David Letterman, you know, I mean, and they called us up. We didn't ask them. They were like, would you guys like to come play? And we're like, yeah, sure, you know. I'd never actually seen the David Letterman show. So, you know, I don't think I had cable TV, and I was kind of like, was that a big TV show? And they're like, oh yeah, it's pretty big. It's in New York. I wasn't even sure it was a national show. You know, we were kind of like, whatever, we'll try it.
Within a year, I guess we were kind of like a more or less professional band. Professional in the sense that we made our living.
We got paid for it.
But, you know, it was certainly not, you know, we didn't do this for fame and fortune. Although I like them both, you know. I'd rather have more fortune and less fame.
In the entire history of the music business that I've seen, no one has ever handled really sudden success and fame when they're young very well. I'm assuming you can't do it.
It's a good thing it didn't all happen at once on the first record. I'm very glad of that.
But I'm ready for it now. I'm ready for success. Give it to us. Bring it on.
The big check.
The big payback. That's, someone was laughing and saying, we ought to call your next record The Big Payback. You know, have us piles of money in our hands.
I mean, by the time it happened to us, we were older, you know. I was almost 30. I'd been doing it for 10 years or 9 years. I was just like, who cares, you know, or about time.
We used to play a place called The Station that was really neat. Really nice owners. Ed, he lived in a trailer with a big pet spider. And, you know, at that time we had to stay on people's floors, so Bill got to stay with Ed, and he was always like, no, don't touch the spider. He eats the flies.
Believe it or not, I've got this parakeet training record. That's the best thing you've ever heard, because it sounds like a poor, tortured little child or something. They teach it to talk and read the Bible, but it's very under pressure, you know, count 6, 6. I'd put it on and it stops traffic. I used to have a girlfriend who worked at a radio station, and she'd play the parakeet training record on one turntable and one of the Eno ambient records on another and send them both out. Perfect. And it was wonderful. They actually made sense. The space Eno one, that one sounded perfect with that.
We got a turtle, a live turtle once. It was a real friendly turtle, too, but I mean, there's nothing you can do with a turtle this big on the road, so we had to give it back. But it had REM painted on the back and everything, and it was the most friendly turtle we've ever seen. We picked it up on stage, and it stuck its head out and just looked around at, you know, 4,000 people. You know, most turtles would, you know, scrunch all up. But unfortunately, that's one of the things that you can't keep. Last tour, I also got a huge plaster ceramic goat with both male and female genitalia. I don't know why, and I carried it for the whole tour in my bunk. So that meant I had to, you know, I couldn't sleep at night. And I still got it. It's hanging on my wall now, but it was like, God, you had to give this to me the first week of the tour, didn't you? You couldn't wait until I was like 3 months into it, almost home.
But you know, that's entertaining for me. This is all just kind of absurd and surrealistic, and you know, and I have to get used to like flying in airplanes first class with all these 60-year-old men, and they all look at me and they think I'm some kind of Cuban dope dealer or something. I don't know what they think. They always wonder what I do for a living, and I'm like, I won't tell them. You know? The end result is something that is all palatable to all of us. Personally, I would never be involved in this ever if I didn't, you know, kind of have to be. That's what the videos are all about too. Like, you know, make sure that the band doesn't have to do anything. No emoting, no acting, no memorization. You stand there and things go on around us.
I see videos are still on your top of your list.
Oh man, well, I can't act. I don't know how to act. I can't memorize lines. I'm uncomfortable on camera. So usually they just surround us with stuff. I mean, ideally it'll get to the point where we'll have like some kind of 3D dimensional cutout of all of us.
Holograms. We're going to do it by hologram.
Michael will be the only one that's really there, and they'll just prop us up, just like Kraftwerk used to do.
There's been kind of an ongoing joke for years that the record company came to me and they were like, well, what can we have Peter do in a video that would make him really happy? It's like, well, sit in a chair and read a book. So I think we actually managed to do a video where you sat in a chair and read a book.
When we did Everybody Hurts, I was supposed to be standing on the hood of a car, and they said, well, what would you do if you're standing on the hood of a car on the freeway for like 8 hours? And I was like, what would I do? I mean, it's a video. I mean, I don't know. I'd bring a book, I guess. So I managed to get through about 150 pages of Memories of the Ford Administration by John Updike on camera.
I think that the delivery systems in the next 10 years are going to change radically. I mean, who's going to need record companies or record stores if you can punch a button and get the record delivered to your house? That said, something like the internet bores me intensely. It's, the kind of people that you don't want to talk to at a party, all talking to each other ad nauseum, hours on end, about things I have no interest in. Michael has plugged me in, so to speak, to the REM file, and it's just like, my God, this is boring stuff. You got to remember, the record industries and musicians unions have always been completely blind to new technology. I mean, in the 40s, the musicians union called a recording ban for 3 years because they said, well, this thing with selling records, that's going to destroy music. I mean, how can you play when you could hear music on the radio for free? My God. So they stopped making records for 3 years during World War II. And 20 years later, just selling, multi-billion-dollar industry. The internet thing, somebody's going to find a way to make it pay, and then it'll be just another revenue source. And until then, I kind of like the fact that it's kind of out there, even though everything you read on the internet is a lie. Everyone knows that. I just wanted to say that. I think as long as people spend their whole life observing things through television or reading magazines or going to see movies, basically the large percentage of what people spend their life doing is incredibly passive. It's received information. I think what you take in is what you are. And if you take in poison all day long, just kind of idiotic, prurient stuff, then you're going to reflect that. I hate to say it, I just don't really care. I mean, I guess people talk about it, think about it a lot, but if you don't ever watch TV and you don't believe what you read in the newspaper, then who cares? I mean, to me, this is just, I'll never see this, and I'll never, who knows what, I don't know what this is going to look like. I mean, this could be a 2-hour special or it could be a minute and a half long. To me, it's just like the people like me don't care about this stuff. The people that aren't like me, maybe they do, and I don't know what the people that aren't like me think. So I just can't give much of a, you can't say.
Well, they can believe it out.
Okay, I don't give much of a fuck about it one way or another. It doesn't mean anything in my life whatsoever.
There are so many causes, and that, these are really troubled times, and there are so many different causes that need attention and need public attention. I would like to think that as a media figure, myself and the band are really kind of just coming forth with this idea that we're caring people, we're compassionate people, we're aware of, and we've educated ourselves about a number of the issues and causes.
There's a huge neoconservative movement, a lot of new right-wing thinking people. Organized religion and television evangelists are really playing a large part. Reagan supports a lot of their ideas in terms of anti-abortion and forcing prayer in public schools and that kind of thing. And it's really horrifying that a lot of people are going along with it.
In our town, there was a really pretty massive youth vote, and it changed the way it changed the mayor, changed some of the city council, changed the way some of the city does business.
REM had a very positive presence in this town, that they were seen as people that were very supportive of Athens growing in the right directions.
The thing is that you vote for president, and okay, you're not getting the guy you necessarily want, but man, city council, I talk to those people. I mean, I could tell them exactly what I think, and they have to answer to me personally. I have their home phone numbers.
We were at this packed city council meeting because there was this huge controversy going on in town about the building of a civic center that was going to, at that point, demolish an entire warehouse district, demolish some significant buildings, and it was packed, and there were a lot of people there, and Michael was sitting on the floor, and my wife had just gotten a call at home that the record had gone to #1, and she came down and found us and told Mike and Michael, who were there at the meeting, that Out of Time had gone to #1. And it caused a little stir in the room because there's all these hundreds of people jammed into this room. It's a very austere setting with all these people with high emotions running over this local issue, and our record had gone to #1. It was just it was a great, great feeling.
People hear me say something, or they read into a song and they say, why is he talking about El Salvador? Why this, why that? I think it just kind of it motivates people to look into it themselves.
In a democracy, if the people educate themselves, then they have a better idea of whom to vote for.
And it doesn't really matter how you vote. I mean, I would prefer they all vote Democrat. I'm liberal, but if they research the issues and feel that they should vote Republican, that's fine. At least they're involved in the political process. That's the important thing.
All of you know that REM didn't do all the work they've done for so long to spend a night playing at the inaugural ball. They led the way to make sure that in 1992, 2 million more young people under the age of 30 voted in 1988. And I'm very proud to say that most of them voted for Democrats, not Republicans.
Actually, just about the only musicians who work with Rock the Vote who actually vote. I mean, the big thing was last year they did like 25 American musicians and 19 of them aren't even registered. We were like 4 of the ones that are.
In the voting booth, it doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter what you look like. What matters is what you think. What matters is that you're there. What matters is your one vote. For me, it's cool that as performers, this is what we have to offer. What I do is sing, and what Mike does is play music, and this is what we have to offer, and it's a good thing. I'm less cynical and more optimistic about taking advantage of an issue being at the forefront, being in everyone's mind, being on television, being in the news, and going ahead and doing what we can do. Whenever a journalist asks me if a celebrity, a public figure, a musician has a voice as a political activist, and what on earth are you doing offering your opinion, I remind them that we live in a country where for 8 years we had a president who was an actor before he was president, and not a very good actor. And we have other politicians right now who started as actors. I don't ever want to hear that question again.
I was in Atlanta several years ago. They had the premiere of Gettysburg that the movie Ted Turner produced, and I was invited to that, so I went because I had ancestors in the Civil War and that sort of thing. It's always been interesting to me, and I said hi to Jane Fonda, and she said, "Oh, hi. Oh, you got to meet Ted." And I'm like, "No, don't bother Ted. Please don't bother Ted." She's like, "No, come with me. You got to meet Ted." I'm like, "Oh," because I knew this was going to be a disaster. And she goes, Ted, this is Mike Mills. He's in REM." He goes, "Oh, yeah, you're that environmental band, aren't you?" And I was, "Oh, yes, Mr. Turner."
I don't think there's any hard and fast rule about what we have to sing about, whether it's politics or, I hope we don't have to do a record about golf or anything like that.
When you're on the road, especially, and recording sometimes, it's such a pressure-filled, frenetic lifestyle that, for me, a golf course is really soothing. It's calm and quiet and green and peaceful. And as long as you don't let your temper run away with you, it can be very relaxing. That's the way I approach it. My handicap is that I can't play. That's my golf handicap. We enjoy playing golf. The whole point of playing golf is to get out there and relax and enjoy yourself. Plus, I'm a highly competitive son of a bitch, and I love to get out there and beat people.
Now, how's your game right now, Mike?
Middling, average, bad, all the above. I'm a 6 and Bill's a 7.
You can't drag the other 2 guys in?
Not a chance.
Not yet, huh?
They won't do it.
It's really weird that one half of the band gets up every morning and plays golf. And I'm sure I must have at once in my life hit a golf ball. I think I went to the driving range when I was a teenager, which is one of those circumstances where, you're seeing triple and you decide to go hit golf balls.
Probably screw him up more than anything.
Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, that's it. I beat him 2 days ago.
I didn't have my clubs.
Oh.
Well, it's true. I mean, it was a borrowed driver.
Yeah! Playing music is a lot like playing golf. They both
require a great deal of patience and tempo.
In the hole! Yeah! Oh, there we go. All right. Cigar.
I knew there was something somewhere.
Great shot, Bill. Another good one. Oh, that's pretty. Bill's got every shot in the bag, if you've noticed today. Nice putt, Bill.
I'm having a lot of fun. This is great. I'm going to be here every year.
I guess a lot of people do it. I don't know. My hobby's cooking, so I mean that's weird too.
Ladies and gentlemen, check it out. The winner of Best Director in a Video is
REM.
Jake Scott. Everybody hurts.
This is an outrage because Spike is a director that has just... I'm from Switzerland, okay? Let me just tell everyone that.
Michael went up to get the award, and Mr. Hornblower, Nathaniel Hornblower, he's, a Swiss filmmaker. I'm a big fan of his. He was just outraged, and he stormed the stage, and I saw it coming, I was like, my heart was beating. I, wanted to stop it from happening because, it's just an appalling situation. And I went to try and stop Mr. Hornblower, but it was too late. He got up there, he got on stage, and well, I mean, the rest was history.
Since I was a small boy, I had dreamed that Spike would win this, and now this has happened.
It's funny. Well, is it funny? It's funny.
Oh, I was loving it. Oh, I was right there watching him. I thought it was great. It was the high point of the show.
And I just want to tell everyone that this is a farce, that I had all the ideas for Star Wars and everything.
Yes, I knew it was him because I'd seen him. The Beasties were sitting like 3 rows behind us, and I saw him come in that outfit. So I didn't know what he was going to do with it, but I did know it was him.
Wow.
People don't know this unless they've been up there behind that podium, but you can't hear a fucking thing. I had no idea. First off, all I saw was green hair. I had no idea what they were saying. So I just patiently waited until they were done.
I think that was Cyndi Lauper, but I'm not sure.
Of course, I'm sure you heard we had to go down to 3rd Precinct and bail him out.
No.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta tell us the story.
He was, yeah, I guess taken away and cuffed, and, we had to go down to the 3rd Precinct and bail him out. And, when it was all said and done, the charges were dropped, and, Mr. Hornblower could return to his country unarmed by the justice system of the United States.
I think it was embarrassing for Spike because we had a party afterwards, and he brought his entire family and was introducing me to them, and he was feeling a little sheepish, I think, at that point.
I'm just, I'd like to apologize for Mr. Hornblower's behavior. As much as I feel grateful that he was standing up for my honor, it was terribly embarrassing.
Yeah, he should have won. I mean, Sabotage should have won every award it was up for. I mean, that's the best video maybe that I've ever seen.
But, Mr. Hornblower is an amazing filmmaker, and although he's a little loopy now and then, he's, highly respected, in his craft.
Pete and I have a personal goal that this band will stay together until the year 2000. So that's only 9 years, but the idea is to maybe play a midnight show in 1999, December 31st, and then 1 minute after midnight, break up the band.
Years and years ago, you always used to see that rumor about REM said they were going to break up by the year 2000. All right, we won't go there.
Everyone asks that question.
I can see you well enough.
It's amazing, all the little things you joke about and all the things you little toss off in interviews, that one came home to roost because people love the idea. It's such a synchronicitous thing.
I think we're going to be around for a really long time, I'm really tired of people asking us if we're going to break up on the last day of 1999. We're not.
Bill Berry said that once, like 4 years ago. Bill didn't even make it to the year 2000. And now we have to answer for his. It's like, Bill, what were you thinking?
Just, I wish no one had ever said that.
How about the rumors of splitting the band in the year 2000?
I was actually going to ask you more if people still refer to that rumor than if you're actually going to break up.
Every single interview you do, it's like probably the least favorite question because it's like, oh my God.
People expected us to schedule the concert, and certainly as 1999 approached, that became, is it really happening?
But basically people go, when are you going to break up? I don't know. People break up because they're, it happens. It's not like you decide to break up. Who knows what's going to happen? Well, 2000 seems awful quick. I got to say that. It's coming up really quick.
It's just amazing that nobody seemed to understand that was a joke. I guess it just seems too perfect for people to think it was a joke, so they stuck with it.
Maybe we just ought to break up at New Year's Eve at midnight. Just
fucking it's over.
Okay, we're done.
We're done. Thank you for being there. The band no longer exists. Goodbye.